Welcome back to the Kelly Roach Show. Today we are talking about the 5 most important things for you to spend your time on as a business leader or CEO. You have probably heard the saying that if your business isn't growing, you're focused on the wrong things. And it's absolutely true, because when you focus on the right things, you will see progress and you will see growth. And even a dedicated hour a day at absolutely anything will provide exponential improvement in the course of time. If you focus on a 1% improvement every day for 100 days, it was just a little over 1 business quarter, you can improve by 100%. So what I want you to be open to as we go through today's episode is really thinking about where you spend your energy and time as a CEO today and how you need to adjust that in order to see the level of growth, team performance, and results that you want to see. Now, I will say that these are in no specific order, because honestly speaking, all 5 of these things are really, truly equally important. And each of them are absolute essentials to building a championship team, a winning company, and great profit margins in your business. So let's start with number 1, which is leadership. Leadership is not the same as management. And so many people get these 2 things confused. Management is essentially delegating tasks, giving instruction around to-dos. It is making sure that people are executing on KPIs or deliverables in the business. And management is really, really important. In fact, it's essential to a business running effectively and smoothly. But management is not the same as leadership. And as you build your company, you should have people that are in mid-level and executive management positions, which means that your core focus is around leadership development of the people that report directly to you. When you think about leadership, there are a couple really essential things where they are places for you to show up in the business that are going to have an instrumental role in allowing your team to perform optimally. Okay, so the first one is regular vision casting, what I call dream team meetings. This is where you review where we are, where we're going. We bring everyone back to the why. We celebrate successes. We talk about areas of improvement. We give clarity on what we are pursuing, and we reignite the fire behind it. Okay, so dream team meetings are number 1. Your employee one-on-ones with your direct reports, where you're coaching them, you're investing in them, you're pouring into them, you're helping elevate in their role. And then training and coaching sessions with the overall team or with the people that report directly to you, depending on the skill set that you have versus the skill set that they have. Leadership, above all else, is setting the tone from the top. It's providing clarity in the vision. It's giving directionality to everything that everyone is doing. And then it's equipping the people that you've entrusted with managing and growing your business with whatever development that they need in order to take their performance and leadership to the next level, so that they can then cultivate what I call the generation behind them. So leadership is number 1. And hand in hand with leadership, those 3 things that I just talked about, the dream team calls, the one-on-ones, the coaching and feedback sessions, you also want to make sure you are establishing a strong feedback loop. This is an essential leadership function, because this is what doesn't happen in a lot of companies. And then what happens is either you find out far too late when it's far too big of a problem, or you have a team that then gets disgruntled and angry and upset because there isn't feedback coming regularly, whether it's about your programs, whether it's about your culture, whether it's about the overall functioning of the organization, what they're seeing and hearing in the market, etc. So establishing that feedback loop and regularly participating in that feedback loop is going to be a part of that leadership function. Second, building brand. What is building brand? Building brand is exposing new people to you and your organization in a values-driven way that allows people to build positive associations with your name and with your organization. Brand is what people think of when they think of you or your company when you're not in the room. How would they describe you? What do you stand for? What are you all about? What is the look, the feel, the energy? How do you deliver for clients? Brand is the essence of your organization, the heart and soul of your organization. And brand can be built in a lot of different ways, but some of the most important ways to build brand are going to be you getting out there and doing PR and doing podcast appearances and doing live streams and creating content and getting on stages, creating exposure where new people are discovering and falling in love with who your organization is, what it stands for, and how it can help people like them. Okay, so content, speaking, developing new IP, networking, each of these are essential components of how you build brand. Number 3 is the look ahead. And you have heard me say this so many times, right? If you are down in the galleys of the ship, you're down underneath, there is no way for you to be the captain of your organization, looking forward, scanning the landscape, making sure that your organization is future focused, skating to where the puck is going. All of these things are essential roles of the CEO. Innovating, disrupting, claiming authority in new ways, discovering new blue oceans that you're going to pursue. You need to make sure that the majority of your time and energy is spent on things that are above the fold, right? That other people see you doing, right? Delivering content, teaching, interacting with the market, right? And yes, strategic thinking time, deep work and strategic thinking time. And this is one of the hardest ones for CEOs because we all got to our first level of success by hustling, by doing it all, by taking massive action. And when you get to a higher level leadership role, your quiet thinking time, your deep work is one of the most essential things that's going to keep your business in business. And it's very counterintuitive for people because it's not what they did to achieve their initial success. But to keep sustaining success over time, you have to be able to do strategic reinvention after strategic reinvention. And if you can't slow down enough to think critically and creatively about what that's going to look like, eventually your business is going to hit a wall. And if you aren't taking the time to do that, you're not going to be able to figure out how to get up and over it. Okay. So the third big one is looking ahead, strategic planning, innovation, disruption, ideation, right? Really making your organization be preemptive in the way that you go to market. The next one is driving the numbers, owning the financials, right? So, of course, we've talked on the podcast before about knowing your core 4 every single day, right? Knowing your expenses, knowing your revenue, knowing your target for the month, and what your gap is. Those are the 4 things that you need to know every single day. You need to know where you are, you need to know where you're going, you need to know what your gap is, and you got to have an action plan to get there, right? And so making sure that you're driving the numbers of the organization, you may no longer be the person selling. You may no longer be the person that's executing the key activities, right? But you need to be the person that is coaching the team to do so, giving feedback, giving direction, setting expectation, creating cadence, and holding people accountable. And, you have to make sure that you're creating an organization that you set a bar here and they decide they want to go here instead. If you are working with a team that you are constantly dragging behind you, pulling behind you, you're having to try and convince them to get to the minimum expectation, you're trying to have to convince them to get to the goals or do what it takes, then they're the wrong team and they're probably going to have to go, especially in the market of today. So knowing the core 4 every single day, making sure you're communicating regularly and consistently with the team about the objectives, the deliverables, and the path to get there. And that goes hand in hand with number 5, which is creating culture. And when you think about culture, that's all the things that someone feels, experiences, embodies when they're a part of your team. It's the language that you use. It's the traditions that you participate in. It's the cadence of how you work. It's the interactions that people have with one another. It's the standards that you create in the organization. It's how you recognize and reward. It's how you terminate and exit people that no longer belong. It's all of those things, right? And one of the things that you're going to learn the hard way, that I think myself and probably every other high level leader has learned the hard way, is you will have some bad apples that come in. And the most destructive thing that will ever happen to your culture is you get someone in your organization that is toxic, because one bad apple can absolutely spoil the bunch. I've had to take out an entire group of people all at once before, because a bad apple spoiled a bunch. And that really set off those alarm bells for me in terms of knowing how much I needed to be focused on culture and how much I needed to be focused on the way that I was keeping connection with the employees in the organization and ensuring that that didn't happen again. And the thing that you have to recognize is that from time to time, you will get one of those people in your organization, and you need to move swiftly to get them out before they poison anyone else. Now, on the flip side, creating culture is an everyday responsibility, whether it's you, the leader in your division or your department, or whether it's you, the CEO of your overall organization. Culture is something that's constructed over time. It's something that has to be reinforced. And culture is something that is where what you tolerate is what you perpetuate. What you initiate is going to be what expands and grows. And you have to be consistent in keeping your eye on what the tone and the morale of the interactions that everyone has with one another and with the market are, and make adjustments constantly to kind of keep your culture intact and to keep it humming and to keep it representation of what you want the essence of the brand to be. Okay, so we talked today about the top 5 things that the CEO or executive leader of a department or division are responsible for. And where I want to challenge your thinking here is to really look at these 5 things that I just went over with you. None of them are tactical tasks. None of them. And so what you have to do is you have to look at your schedule. You have to look at the way that you're using your time and your energy and your talent. You have to ask yourself, are you still in the weeds doing tactical to-dos all day, every day with your team? Or are you actually leading? Are you actually being a visionary CEO? Because you will miss things and you will not be able to guide the organization effectively. If you're down in the weeds, it's very hard to be the strategic visionary that is going to drive your organization forward. And so think about that and think about, who do you have on your team that can elevate? Who do you need on your team in order for you to be in a true CEO role? And what are you doing to create a culture of autonomy, of problem solving, and of leadership and ownership to make sure that you can elevate up to that level of leadership that you want to stand at? So if you liked this conversation today and you want to learn more about leadership development programs that myself and my companies have available, you can DM me the word mentor on any of the platforms where we're connected. So LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, all the links are in the show notes below. Chances are we're connected somewhere already. DM me the word mentor if you want to learn more about leadership development and how to step into visionary leadership. Again, you can DM me the word mentor to learn more. Thanks so much for tuning into the show. And again, these are the 5 most important things that you can do as a visionary leader to drive your organization forward. And what are they? Leading your team from the front, building brand, managing the numbers, looking ahead, and creating culture. If you want to learn more about how we help people become visionary and strategic leaders, DM me the word mentor, and I'll see you on the next episode.